It's Friday, nighttime, and I like my wine. Knowing how to bounce back from a breakup. It's extremely important. Like I said in another video, you need to be emotionally available before you can enter into something new. And, a lot of us don't take time to properly grieve a situation. And, that's what it is. You were forming a bond with someone who you hoped to become one with at some point, and now you're no longer with that person, and you need to take the time to get over it. Now, that time might differ from person to person. However, if you have that faith to know that God's going to bring you through it, maybe you've been through another breakup before and you've seen God bring you through it and to something greater, then that's step one, to just really, really trust in Him and trust in that deliverance. But, there are some messages that God will speak to you just in those lonely moments that can really be beneficial. And He's spoken some to me, which may or may not apply to you. So I want to run through them fairly quickly. First one, my first major breakup. It took a very long time to get over. I'm talking years. But what finally did it for me, there was one moment where I just remember praying to God, and I was like, I am so scared that if I move on to someone else and then He's ready, that I will no longer want Him. And I don't want that to be the case. And God told me in that moment, when it's your husband, the man that I have for you, there's nothing that you can do to mess it up, and there's nothing that you can do to make it work. And he gave me this extreme sense of peace just by letting me know that, if that particular man that I was seeing at that time, if he was meant to be, then He would bring him back around. And if not, then He would bring me to someone else, and I would take that situation for what it was and leave it in the past. And that just, I don't know, that helped me so much because I stopped trying, you know? I moved forward. I didn't have any bitterness, and it was just so different from what I had been experiencing prior to that. So that's one. Just know that God is really in control, and He has your best interest in heart. Number two, now this is a message that God delivered to me after one of my, more recent situations. I was sitting in church, and I remember just asking so many questions like,
well, God, like, what am I supposed, like, how am I supposed to meet my guy? What do I say? What do I do differently?
And God told me, I promise you, sitting in that service, get knee deep into your purpose and everything else will fall into place. And I think I had been so distracted by worrying and by being upset and by trying to analyze my actions and try to figure out what I did wrong and where I went wrong and what he did wrong and where he went wrong. And God was just like, stop. There's something greater out there. There's something, I want you to be with someone who's going to help further the kingdom. And you're not doing anything currently. Not that I wasn't doing anything, but I'm saying you're not doing enough currently. You need to already be on a path where you have a goal, and that person can come in and complement your goal. And he's doing his own thing, and you can complement him, but you need to be doing the work of the kingdom first. That helped me. So this was also while I was at church. I get all my inspiration at church. But it was right after the sermon had ended, and we were all bowed, our heads were bowed in prayer. And, you know, before that, everyone had been telling me, you should get involved with the volunteer team, because I had been at the church for like 2 years at that point. And I was like, you know what? I'll know when I'm ready. I will know when I'm ready. And, that day, just while we were all praying, I was like, God, how can I live more outwardly for you? Like, I'm ready to take this to the next level. And I felt like He told me, you need to volunteer. Just start volunteering with the church. When I tell you, as soon as we raised our heads, they did a call for volunteers. I was like, wow, this is amazing, And I had been telling people, I'll know when I'm ready. And I didn't know how I'd know, but He gave me the answer. And so what that did for me, especially since I was going through such a tough time with that breakup, it helped me to be surrounded by people who were positive. We're all gathered together to do a positive activity each week to deal with people who are really struggling with issues that, are affecting their day-to-day livelihood. It just helped put everything in perspective and just give me an outlet, as much as I was doing work for people in the community and people who attended our church. It was also a good distraction for me and a good way for me to move forward in my faith and in my growth and in my spiritual journey while I was dealing with what I considered a tough time at that time. That's what I would encourage you to do, whether it's volunteering with your church or just finding some activity, even if it's just, finding a circle of people. They don't have to be your close friends, but people who can just be with you in those moments and just help you to stay on track. You don't want to turn to drinking and partying to try to get over someone while you're in search for your husband. That just it's not gonna work out too well, I promise you. So I really started working on myself. I think that anytime you go through a struggle, you need to find the lesson in it, and sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult. For this, I kept challenging myself. So I did things like a no negativity challenge. I journaled a lot. Um, Carved out more time for prayer. Like there were a few things that I managed to put in place so that I could just get myself to the next level as much as I could. Eventually, I ended up doing a fast, which proved to be very, very beneficial and just gave me so much clarity. And like I heard God clearer than I had ever heard Him before. I didn't know that that was possible. But one thing that I actually learned recently, you know, I've been really trying to work on my integrity, if that makes any sense to you. And I just really wanted to be a person of integrity. And I ended up watching this Ayamla episode, and she defines integrity as feeling, saying, doing. All of those things have to match up. What you feel has to match up with what you say, has to match up with what you do. And especially as I'm in this place of trying to prepare myself for my future husband and to really just, do the work of God, having integrity is really important, like the decision I told you that I made, that's going to require a lot of integrity. You know, I'm going to have to make sure that boundaries are in place way before this ever becomes a conversation. And, it's just things like that. You have to really get to know what you want, what God wants for you, and you need to act and carry yourself in that way. And like, we know we're all worldly beings or whatever. We're having a worldly experience, and it's not always going to be easy for us, but we have to try. We have to really make a concerted effort to carry ourselves in a way that makes sense. So my prayer for all of you is that you really start to trust the process and ask God what's required next. What do you need to do now to move to the next stage of your spiritual walk and your life in general? And I hope that He reveals everything to you that He needs to reveal. And I trust that you'll listen. I mean, it's a great feeling when you're obedient. I'm so glad that you watched. So until next time, we'll try to get some more wine in this glass.